You're probably slicing your list like a junior engineer. So in this example here, we have a working but less optimal approach to doing two things. So the first is that we're printing out the entire list. And to do so, we're just slicing the list from the first index all the way to the last one, inclusive of the length of the array. And this will print out the full list, but it's not very optimal because it's not dynamic. And another common approach is printing out the last element. So one common approach to do this is just to get the length of the list and then subtract 1 to actually get the index. So this will work, but it's not optimal because one, if the length of the list changes, then your indexes will just be out of date and potentially cause an error. The other is that you can get the last index of a list by subtracting 1 from the length, but it's not ideal compared to some of the built-in Python shortcuts. Instead, more senior approaches use Python's built-in slicing shortcuts to make your code a lot cleaner and a lot more maintainable. So coming into this example here, we're doing some of these same exact operations, and we're also doing some additional ones. So in the first case, if we want to print the entire list, instead of specifying the 0 index and then the length of the list, you can just use the colon on its own, and you'll get the entire list without having to actually specify an index. And let's say you actually want to get the last element. Instead of doing the length minus 1, you can just do minus 1 as the index, and it will still return the last element in the list. And then two additional shortcuts that you can actually use. If you want to just reverse the list in a single go, all you have to do is use 2 colons and -1, and it'll just print the list in reverse, which is a lot cleaner than trying to write some kind of loop to go over it in order and then print it out in reverse order. And finally, let's say you want to print every second element in a list, then you can just add 2 colons here and then the length of the step that you want to take. So in this case, we want to do 2 elements, so we can just do colon, colon 2, and we'll print every second element within the list. If we run this here, it still works as you'd expect. So start using some of Python's built-in list slicing functions and code like a senior because